What is one mullet plus one Walkman plus two shoulder blades divided by George Michael times Boy George? That's right, it's the 1980s. Welcome to Chocolate and Cheese. Now, wasn't that an awesome intro? You don't think so? I worked on it the entire night. I didn't sleep at all. I'm pretty chuffed with that, actually. It went straight away. Right. Welcome to Chocolate and Cheese with me, Dom, and
Lulu.
That's right. Very nice. Now, Lou, don't you just love the 80s? No, you don't have to answer that. That's a rhetorical question. Everybody loves the 80s. Yeah? It's like asking, don't you just love ABBA? No, you wouldn't respond to that. I mean, obviously everybody loves ABBA, unless you're mental or evil, or maybe somebody who doesn't particularly like that decade because I guess John Lennon and Bob Marley maybe don't like the 80s so much. Anyway, the 80s.
80s.
Lou, what's your favorite movies from the 80s?
Gremlins.
You like the Gremlins? I used to love the Gremlins. Oh, that was such a fantastic movie. Actually, well, two movies actually. What did you really like about them so much?
Oh.
She's eating seeds at the moment. That's what you hear. Probably that weird sound in the background. I think one of the coolest things about Gremlins was that cute little thing. What was it called?
Gizmo.
Gizmo. No, was it called Mogwai? Or is he a Mogwai? I'm not quite sure actually now. But I think he was called Gizmo. Yeah,
her name is not her. His name is Gizmo.
Oh, his name is Gizmo, but he is actually a Mogwai.
Mogwai.
What does Mogwai mean?
Monster.
Oh, that little monster.
I don't know, like Chinese monster?
Oh, it could be, yeah. I mean, it was just the cutest thing, wasn't it? The way he talked, it was really cute, yeah. And then obviously, if you do something with it, you then turn into these horrible creatures, the so-called Gremlins, I mean, I think one of the things, it was so cool that they were very specific about the things that you weren't supposed to do with Mogwais, like Gizmo. So what was it again? There was something about not feeding them after midnight?
After midnight,
That's right, yeah.
And also, don't use water.
What do you mean? You don't give them something to drink, or?
Yeah, I think so.
No, wasn't it? No.
No water at all.
No, but I don't think that was drinking. It was about like pouring water over them. I think you had to pour water over them.
No, I think
it's almost like an accident. Was there a third one? I don't actually know. I think these two. Yeah.
What was that?
No, I think there might have been a third one. I'm not quite sure actually now. Yeah, but these two definitely. I mean, I think there was something about pouring water over them, and then they would turn into these horrible creatures. I mean, I think he would have these lumps on his back, and they would pop away, and then you would have all these. Exactly, you would have all these different kinds of gremlins. It was fantastic. Yeah. I'm actually wondering how many people at that time, I didn't think about it in that way, I was a kid, young teenager, how many people thought, that maybe their cute little pets, might react in similar ways, like, hey, what happens if I feed my cat? I mean, my cat kind of looks like Gizmo. If I feed it after midnight, is it going to turn into a gremlin, if I pour some water over it? All right. Anyway, so this was one of your favorite movies, yeah? Okay, interesting.
Definitely.
What about TV series? I have a couple of TV series which I was absolutely crazy about. We talked about this a little bit before. Bless you. That was my dog. Okay. Anyway, one of my favorite TV shows was the Hulk. You know the Hulk, yeah, the green monster. Yeah. One of my favorite shows, absolutely. David Banner, the scientist, playing around with chemicals and radiation, and then he gets this almost lethal dose of radiation, which kind of like changes his genetic makeup. Okay, so what happens is that whenever he gets angry, he turns into this horrible green monster. But actually, he's not really horrible. He's only just gets angry and then gets at people that kind of like pissed him off, and it's usually like really mean people or criminals, who get a bashing. So I think the other thing which kind of made it work was that there was this reporter. The reporter was constantly on his heel, trying to catch him. He kind of had an idea, hey, what's behind that green monster? He was trying to create this super story. And he kind of had an idea that it might have been, David Banner, the protagonist. But he never gets, he's getting close, and that kind of like makes the whole thing work. It's constantly, quite exciting that you have, on the one hand, him being chased, and then obviously, him getting in all sorts of difficult situations where he suddenly turns into this green monster. I really liked it. The one thing that I'm thinking now is that as a child I wasn't really interested in that, and I just took it. Why green? Why does he turn into a green?
Yeah.
And also his
maybe
hair.
Green Giant.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, his hair was green as well. I'm thinking, So why was it green? I mean, apparently, it's like a Marvel character, and they also have the Red Hulk.
Maybe they have lots of green inks left.
Yeah, maybe that was quite cheap at the time. So they thought, hey, why don't we just paint that guy? Paint that guy green. I love it. Absolutely, that was just a cheap option. Absolutely. Did you know that there's also a She-Hulk?
She-Hulk?
Yeah, I've never actually watched it, but I think that's kind of hot.
What's that?
It's basically a woman, who turns into the She-Hulk. So it's basically the really strong monster, that keeps bashing people. Kind of wouldn't mind, being bashed around by her. The She-Hulk, yeah. But, the Hulk.
Is she green?
No, she wasn't. Oh, do you know? I have no idea. Maybe she's red. I have no idea. But anyway, that was one of my favorite TV series, Movies. What about another movie?
Home Alone 80s? No?
I think 90s? That was actually 90s, yeah. I mean, obviously one of the biggest hits, and I remember that you mentioned it before, was Ghostbusters. Absolutely, Ghostbusters. I mean, that was just brilliant. I was crazy about it. I was really crazy about it. The big, what's it called? The big marshmallow man. Puff, whatever his name, it was just fantastic. And, I really hope, really have to say, that they're going to do this third part. They were talking about this for years, Now, unfortunately, one of the main guys, he recently died, so that's quite sad, And I heard that they were actually trying to make, make kind of like a new movie, just based on the younger generation. They were thinking of having a couple of girls, like the new Ghostbusters. So I'm not quite sure whether the other guys were actually going to appear. Probably some guest appearances, But it was a fantastic show. I just loved it. Huge hit. I'm just thinking, another TV series from the 80s, which I know you don't know, I mentioned it to you before, is MacGyver. I mean, seriously, that definitely was one of my favorite series, MacGyver. Yeah, it has a fantastic theme song, absolutely. And, this combination of adventure, science, action, always worked. It was just fantastic. Loved it. Loved the theme music. Loved the guy. This was a very handsome guy. I remember when I was a kid, kind of a teenager. I was going for that kind of hairstyle. Like this typical mullet. Like it's now. I mean, nobody would wear this now unless you're a complete hillbilly.
Fukuhira in German.
That's right. Yeah, that's what you would call in German. Absolutely. I would go to the hairdresser. I would have a picture of that actor, of Richard Dean Anderson, saying, "Hey, I would look just like that guy." Can you imagine me doing that now?
Yeah.
No,
it's kind of a punishment, isn't it?
It is. It was a lovely series. I really enjoyed it. I probably watched most of them. They also did a couple of movies afterwards. And recently, I think about a year or 2 years ago, they actually had a new MacGyver movie, which was actually a commercial for a car. And I started watching it, but you see, you have a completely different memory from the way it was in the 80s, and then you see this kind of like aging kind of chubby man who's trying to still be MacGyver, and this was a commercial, so I didn't really bother watching it. But the original series, it was just fantastic. This, again, like I said, science and action, which is kind of funny now. Now you're kind of thinking it's ridiculous. You have all these guys, chasing him down a deserted factory, and because that's a really important thing. He was so against violence. He never used a gun. I think maybe in the very beginning of the show he once used a gun, but he made it very clear throughout the entire series that he was completely peaceful. He never used a gun. He found them horrible, really, really horrible. So he would always use science to kick ass. Yeah, that's what the whole thing was about. The funny thing is, when you think about it now, how stressful it is. You have all these criminals and terrorists running after you. Yeah. And he goes into some kind of room and looks for, hey, let's look for some chemicals, yeah? Let's look for some washing powder and some citric acid, yeah? And I'm gonna make some kind of weird contraption, and I'm gonna catch those criminals. This guy was so cool, how can you think? If you are being chased down, you have bullets flying past your head, yeah? You're trying to just hide somewhere, but he's thinking about, oh yeah, what did I learn?
What can I use for that?
What did I learn in chemistry? In chemistry in school, yeah. Let's build something. Just fun, And it looked like proper science. Well, at least that's what you think when you're a kid. That this is all proper science.
Yeah.
The funny thing
also,
is,
I think like you, try to catch an insect.
Okay. I
really don't care. I'm gonna kill that insect straight away, but you cannot do that.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. No, I wouldn't. I'm a pacifist. I don't want to kill. Absolutely, if it's not necessary, you don't have to. No,
so I think MacGyver is like that.
Yeah. No, he probably wouldn't kill bugs.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. He would make a trap, a very complicated trap, which probably takes him days to complete, to then finally capture that spider that bugs him. Yeah, absolutely. That's him. No, definitely. Cool. Any other movie that you remember from the 80s? Or TV series? Something that's so iconic of the 80s. I'm sure that our listeners, thinking, oh my God, how can you think of that? Right now I'm completely blank. I can't think of anything now. Only thing I can think of is She-Hulk, actually. I shouldn't have thought about this. I'm going to have some very interesting dreams of the She-Hulk tonight. Yeah. Any other movie that you can remember that you absolutely loved? I give you another TV series while you're thinking. Knight Rider. Another absolute favorite of mine. This Michael Knight and his super smart car kit. Again, the theme song was just bang on. I love that theme song. It was fantastic. Really, really good stuff. Actually, Busta Rhymes, one of the hip hop artists, he actually used that theme song, for some of his rap music, which also sounded pretty cool, actually. But again, it's this, this kind of like agent who's trying to, chase down the bad boys, with his trusted car. I'm not quite sure whether Michael Knight actually had real friends in that show. He was just way too busy, spending time with kids. Obviously when you're young and innocent, you don't think about certain things. But now that I'm a little bit older, I'm thinking, so there's this man who spent most of his time with a talking.
You more care about surrounding him
with a talking car. And I'm thinking, how deep did that relationship actually go? Okay, so this was Knight Rider, fantastic series. Another movie. I could remember you mentioned one movie recently and I completely forgot.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, of course. Oh my God, of course. I think that was probably my favorite, series, trilogy. I liked all of them. Even the last one where people think, this isn't really going back to the future because, well, actually it's going back to the past, isn't it? It's like, in the Wild West. But Michael J. Fox, oh God, it was brilliant. The hovercraft. There were so many iconic things in that show. this style, you know, I actually went to Hollywood to the Universal Studios. I actually saw the studio where they filmed that, you know, that scene where he's on the clock tower and then the old guy, I forgot his name now, Lloyd something, he gets struck by lightning and all this kind of thing. So I actually saw that. It was fantastic. Definitely one of my favorite. I think it's actually my favorite movie from the 80s. Absolutely, by far. And Back to the Future 4. Do you think that's going to happen? Not quite sure?
Not quite sure. I wish it not happen.
Oh, well, yeah. Would be interesting though. I mean, you know, Michael J. Fox is still doing, you know, I mean, he obviously, you know, got very unwell. He's doing mostly, you know, things behind the camera, but he's still doing, I mean, he has the Michael J. Fox show, you know, I think they were doing this. So it'd be interesting if they do another one, you know, just like Sylvester Stallone can't stop playing Rambo. By the way, obviously Rambo and Rocky, excuse me, the 80s, you know, they should obviously be mentioned.
That
anyway,
movie is not for audience, that's for him.
Well, maybe, yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that pretty much concludes, you know, these all the TV series and movies I can think of at the moment, you know. Maybe at a later point, you know, we're going to be thinking about some more things we can remember about the 80s.
Lovely 80s.
Yeah. But I think for now, shall we conclude the show for today?
Aww.
Yeah, I think it's time to go. Thanks again for listening. Appreciate it. Thanks for liking and commenting on the video. And if you subscribe to us, we would greatly appreciate it. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from Lulu.
Absolutely. All right, until next time then. See you. Bye.